The market doesn't know what keeps you up at night. It doesn't know when you want to retire, and it doesn't know how old you are. The simple truth is, the market doesn't care. But if you care, you've tuned into the right place. You're listening to Investor Resources, bringing clarity to the confusing world of finance. Here are your hosts of Investor Resources, Don Creech and Perry Sykes.
I'm Don Creech.
And I'm Perry Sykes, and welcome to the Investor Resources Podcast.
So is the market up or down? Is it time to be risk on or risk off? Which basically, should I be in or should I be out? That's a perennial question.
Yeah, I'm glad you're covering that, Don. I need to know. So go ahead. What do you got?
Well, the sage of Omaha, as he's known, Warren Buffett, has been commenting on this issue for decades.
Correct.
He wrote a big article in 1979 that was published in Forbes talking about the herd mentality of investors. So you want to know what to do in the market, and where do you go for advice? Pretty typically, people talk to their friends, their coworkers. What are you doing? What do I do with this? Did you see the list of stuff in my 401k plan? How am I supposed to know which one I'm supposed to pick? What do you mean you don't know?
Yeah, somebody's got to have an answer here. And if you look to Wall Street, if you look to the brokerage firms, they really do still to this day, even after decades ago, Warren Buffett pointed it out. It's a herd mentality. They all start heading in the same direction. They all start coming to the same conclusion. They all start believing in the same statistics, and they're all telling you, for the most part, here's how everything's going to come down. And either it's way too optimistic or it's way too pessimistic. Either way, they're still just trying to get your eyes on their website. They want you to buy their newsletter. They want you to think they're smart people. And so they need to take these extreme positions to get you to read their point. And of course, as we're always saying, all of that stuff is usually 90% marketing, and it's about 10% analytics, and the rest of it is to sell you something to fix this perceived problem. And the key thing, one of Buffett's key points, is the risk is always in the market. We talk about that a lot. The risk is not in the way you feel about the market, not if you're worried or not if you think everything's great or not. You have to look at the underlying numbers in the market, follow the money, look at the trends, and see what's actually going on versus what's the narrative. And that's what Wall Street specializes in, the narrative.
Well, and yes, the narrative, and there's always a bull and a bear. I mean, you talk to your friends at work, or your neighbors and your family, you go on websites, you just do a Google search for market condition or trending, and you're going to find choices that probably leave you confused. Is this a bull market or is it a bear market? Is it about to crash? And Labor Day weekend, I received 2 emails from the same firm. Now, most of the time, any firm that's doing newsletters has multiple branches with different names, but they're all coming out of the same place. So I received these 2 emails, one of which said, be prepared for the bull market. Here's how to position yourself. And about 6 emails later, I'm clicking on these things, and here's one from the same firm that says the market is going to crash. You need to be prepared by September 9th.
Coming right up.
There's a link to sign up and find out what the disaster is going to be. And if you really want to know, after you watch a 20-minute video with a bunch of other hyperlinks in it, then you find out it's only going to cost you $500 a year to join the inside people that really know what's going on. And where does that leave you? Just as confused, because you go back to the other email. Now they have a special deal because normally it's $5,000 a year, so it's got to be better news, better analysis. But right now, special deal for only $500, you can get the first 90 days. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. But that's how you know it's all about marketing, and it's not about market analytics. It's all about selling you stuff. And if you think we're in a bull market, we've got the cheerleader to tell you you're right, and we've got a whole long list of stuff to sell you. And if you think we're in a bear market, we've got the same person that's going to commiserate with you to say, no, this is a bear market, and we've got another long list of things to sell you. And we don't care which ones you buy. We just care that you're buying stuff. If you're bullish, we got stuff. If you're bearish, we got stuff. Either way, we just want you buying things. And that's the part you have to take care of yourself. Nobody's going to tell you, you know what, these guys are just looking out for themselves. They're not looking out for me. And that's the fact. So many cases, they're just saying, hey, well, this could happen. And what do you know? We've got a bunch of stuff we can sell you for that. And so that's what they're there for. The biggest problem is there's a little bit of truth in everything they say. Is the next market crash coming? Yep, it is. Do we know when it's coming? Nope, we have no idea. And so they get away with it. They get away with saying, are we in a bull market? Yes, we are. When's it going to get really good? Sometime in the future. Yeah, and that's all. That's as far as it's going to get. But they'll let you buy stuff on either side of that coin, and it's up to you to decide what to do about that. Which is why you need to find a way to keep your emotions out of it if you can, and bring as much logic to the situation. And that means, for the most part, trying to ignore that narrative, because that's where they really get that emotional bite going, and that's where they really can start selling you stuff.
So when you're buying newsletters, you actually don't have a fiduciary relationship. They're just publishing their opinion, and you're paying for that. And as I mentioned, I got these two different opposing views from the same firm, but they had different authors. One guy's the bull, the other guy's the bear. Now, you want to talk about the bull market. Well, of course, as you just said, there's lots of things to look at. Inflation's coming down, the economy's still growing, consumers are still spending money. And on the bear side, well, consumers are running out of money, and grocery inflation is higher than it's ever been in our history. I mean, and we have two wars going on, and the federal debt is out of whack. You can build a case either side. The question really comes down, as you said, Perry, you have to make up your own mind. What we do to reduce the confusion and try to eliminate our emotional response is have a set of rules. We look at the two things that matter: volume, because volume leads price. And if there's no volume, prices are going to fall. When there is volume, prices are going to rise. Volume means that people are either interested because the volume is rising and they're participating, or volume's falling because nobody's paying attention, or they just simply don't want what's for sale. So prices drop. And people are not skeptical as much as they should be when it comes to financial advice. I know I've used this before when we were doing seminars. If you're shopping for a car and you walk onto a car lot, your natural reaction is to keep your hand on your billfold, because as much as you might want a car, they're after your money. They don't care which car you drive off the lot. It's just leave plenty of money behind. When you walk into a financial advisor's office or buy a newsletter, you don't know that. But the financial advisor has the same job as the car salesman. It's just a much more sophisticated and probably much more complex transaction. You have to figure out whether or not that advisor is actually a fiduciary who has a legal duty to set aside his conflicts of interest. The guy on the car lot has no duty to set aside his interest for yours. He's there because he wants to sell you a car. He's either the dealer who makes money or the commission salesman is making money, but all they want you to do is drive that car off the lot. The financial advisor just wants you to leave money behind and say goodbye. Now,
that's it.
I took my wife to get her hair cut last week. And while I'm there, I'm studying a book. And one of the other stylists mentioned it and said, "What do you study?" I said, Yeah, I'm studying. What? The stock market. I'm studying. This is a book on volume and what volume tells you about what's going on in the market. And she said, "Well, I have an advisor. I don't need to do that." And so we chatted a little bit, and she told me which firm he was with. And I said, "You don't have an advisor. You have a sales rep because he calls you to get permission to do stuff in your account, and you, with all your knowledge about styling hair, say yes. That sounds good to me." But
Believing you're looking out for my best interest, right?
you're just basically agreeing to his sales talk. And so he
That's it.
buys or sells whatever he has made that recommendation today. Now, in the
Yep.
business, there is something that's called best interest, which is an attempt by the industry to pretend that they have your best interest at heart without becoming fiduciaries. Now,
Correct.
as far as Perry and I operate, we left that business because we realized, as a financial advisor that's really a broker, you always have a conflict of interest because your income is dependent upon converting client assets into commissions, as a former partner used to repeat to me.
Right.
And as a fiduciary, the only source of income is what you pay the advisor out of your own pocket or out of your own account for in response to a billing statement saying you owe me this much for this quarter or this service, and I'm looking out for you. I have no other source of income, no other
Yep.
reward package, no bonus, no trip. Nobody's paying my office expenses. I'm here on my own to represent you in the marketplace. And
And Don's
that's
not making that stuff up. All those are real income channels for brokers who are working for a brokerage firm, who are in the sales business. They do get commissions. They do get free trips. They do get office expenses paid for. They do get extra services for free, quote, for free, because the client ends up paying for it all with the commissions they're paying to buy those products. We have what's called a fee only practice. We have no commissions. We're commission free. We try to eliminate every conflict of interest that we can get to. And if we can't eliminate it, we tell people we're going to do this and we're working on your behalf, but this is how we're getting paid, and this is how much we're going to get paid, and you know all that going in. So there's no surprise, and more importantly, there's no money changing hands with you not knowing who's actually paying us. Only our clients pay us, no one else. There's no soft dollars from anyone else who provides a service or a product for us. We provide the services to our clients. Our clients pay us directly for that, and there's no one else involved. We think that's the best way we can do business. It's the cleanest model that we've ever seen, and it's the one that we've been using for decades ourselves at this point. So it's the one that we like, and we have no intention of changing that at all.
And one of the benefits of that is, instead of dealing with how you feel about market conditions, our
Sure.
portfolios are run based on our data determined analysis of market conditions. So the way you feel, whether it's aggressive or conservative or somewhere in the pendulum along the way between those two extremes, your opinion does not affect the market. Think about that.
Correct.
Your
Yep.
opinion does not affect the market. So what does determine market risk? It's conditions in the market. And your portfolio should respond to conditions in the market rather than your emotional response to headlines and saying, "Oh my goodness, what do I do now?" Because the
Right.
market is full of regret. And most of the people that virtually everybody who we do business with used to use modern portfolio theory. Whether
Sure.
they did it themselves, they were on a website, their 401k plan, or their prior advisor, 90% of the time, it's a modern portfolio theory, maybe tweaked a bit. And
Yep.
that process is modern regret permanently. Because when the market's going up, you regret you didn't have more in stocks. When the market's going down, you regret you had so much in stocks. That's because it does not respond to market conditions. That's what rules do, and our rules adapt to that. They're constantly under review. Should we be in the market? If so, should we own what we own? Is it a leader or is it a laggard? If it's a laggard, what's it doing here? If
Correct.
it's a leader, should we own more of it or similar positions in the portfolio? If that sounds attractive to you, you should give us a call, send us an email. Let's have a discussion about how your portfolio is being run. You'll be happy you did. Sign up, subscribe for our podcast right down there. We have a webinar coming up. I don't know if this is going to get to you beforehand, but we always have a webinar coming up on the first Saturday, if it's not a holiday, on the first Saturday of the month. You get to our website. You can subscribe to the current one that's scheduled or watch our prior ones. But give us a call. Let's have a chat. Hope you've had a great Labor Day weekend, and we are now on the march to what we believe and pray and hope for, new highs in the market by the end of the year. But it's an election year. It's not a straight ride. Remember your first roller coaster ride? Well, that kind of anxiety is probably in the game between now and at least election time. So thanks for being with us. Watch for our next podcast. We'll be back.